The college basketball season is a good few weeks underway, which means it's officially time to start analyzing the top prospects in regards to how they stack up against each other for the upcoming NBA draft. From what we've seen so far, this upcoming class is projected to be quite strong, with several potentially elite prospects heading to the league after the season. So for today's video, we're going to be doing the first official mock draft of the season, and from here on out, as I've done each of the last 2 years, I will be doing one mock draft per month to stay up to date on the prospects' progression or regression according to where they rank. Also, before we get started, I wanted to emphasize that for the order in which the NBA teams will be picking in this video, I used the draft lottery simulator on tankathon.com, and on my first sim, got this order, so this was completely random and not my doing. Also, before we start, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. We're going to start at the bottom of the lottery and work our way up to the highly anticipated number 1 pick. So with pick number 14, the Sacramento Kings select Vernon Carey Jr. from Duke. After looking around at other mock drafts from other publications, I've come to realize that I'm probably higher than most are with Carey, with the biggest worry from scouts being about his defense. But I'm willing to be a little more lenient with these concerns this early in the season. Obviously, if improvement isn't shown as time goes on, then it will be valid, but for now, I see a player who's big, strong, and with excellent touch around the basket. He crashes the boards hard and makes anyone defending him work, and with the Kings' current biggest need being at the center position, I actually like the fit here. Next, with the 13th pick in the draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Jeremiah Robinson-Earl from Villanova. The Blazers' lack of forward depth this season has killed them, and Robinson-Earl's game should mold perfectly into the way NBA basketball is played today. Robinson-Earl doesn't need the ball in his hands to make an impact, which is perfect alongside two of the premier shot creators in Lillard and McCollum. He spaces the floor with a smooth outside shooting stroke, he's versatile on defense, and despite being a bit undersized, is a big strong body that rebounds the ball very well. He's got decent athleticism, and while he may not be the flashiest player you'll watch, he's very fundamentally sound with a high IQ for the game. Up next with pick number 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Obi Toppin from Dayton. Toppin is one of the biggest early risers up draft boards this season, as his performance at the Maui Invitational put scouts across the country on notice. The sophomore forward is lighting teams up in almost every imaginable way, filling box scores and putting on a show on a game-to-game basis. If you don't guard him with a big man, he'll use his skill in the post to get his shot off over smaller defenders, and if you put a big on him, he's too quick off the dribble. On top of that, his three-point stroke is much improved from last year, and on 3 attempts per game so far this season, he's shooting 50% from 3. If he keeps this up, there's no doubt in my mind he'll be a lottery pick come June, because he's off to a terrific start. Next up with the 11th pick in the draft, the Orlando Magic select Josh Green from Arizona. Josh Green's profile as a prospect is being made on the defensive end of the floor, as he's already shown to be one of the better defenders in college basketball out on the wing. He's locked in on defense every possession with a very high motor. He's always pressuring the ball handler, making smart rotations, forcing turnovers, and maintaining a high level of energy. Offensively, he's not the most creative player, but he's done well as a spot-up shooter so far and makes smart cuts for easy points. He has high 3-and-D potential with strong upside, making him a firm lottery pick in my eyes. Up next with pick number 10, the Washington Wizards select RJ Hampton, who is playing in Australia. Hampton, like another high-profile prospect that we'll discuss later in this video, is playing in the NBL in Australia, which is one of the best non-NBA leagues in the world, and so far, he's having himself a solid season. He's a combo guard that can score off the dribble, shoot from the perimeter, and has even impressed scouts with his playmaking for teammates. Playing against grown men on a regular basis has been good experience for him, and should help him adjust to the NBA next year. With the 9th pick in the draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Onyeka Okongwu from Auburn. Now, usually when you think of lottery picks, you think of guys that are number one options on their teams and go-to guys to make big plays, but that's not necessarily what Okoro brings to the table. Okoro has been a monster on the defensive end of the floor this season, which is especially impressive for an 18-year-old to be able to adjust this quickly. He's 6'6" with a strong 215-pound frame, and everything about him is pointing towards lockdown defender at the NBA level. Offensively, he's an amazing finisher on two-point shots, making 72% of them, but he admittedly does need to work on his perimeter shooting. The Spurs seem like the perfect landing spot for him, and Coach Pop would be able to turn him into a top-tier role player. With the 8th pick in the draft, the Detroit Pistons select Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. For a scoring guard, Maxey checks about every box there is with the eye test. He's got great size and speed, and the confidence that fuels his game. He's always ready to shoot from anywhere on the floor, and is such a creative player with the ball in his hands. He finishes well through contact, creates space with his shifty handle, and all around is probably one of the best bucket getters in the class. The Pistons have started the season pretty rough, so in any scenario, they're probably going to target the best player available, and Maxey at this spot would be great value. Next, with pick number 7, the Chicago Bulls select Deni Avdija from Israel. Deni is one of the most difficult prospects to analyze because of the limited role that he's being given on his team, but there's usually a few glimmers of potential that shine through per game that get scouts excited. He's a highly skilled 6'8" player with the ability to be used as a secondary playmaker, can score both inside and out, and rebounds very well in limited minutes. As we see more of him throughout the year, we'll get a better idea of his game, but for an 18-year-old, he's quite promising. With the 6th pick in the draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Onyeka Okongwu from USC. Okongwu actually played alongside LaMelo Ball at Chino Hills early in their careers, and what might be even more surprising to some of you is that he was ranked as the better prospect coming out of high school. This young freshman has been a menace in the paint this year, absolutely dominating both ends of the floor and causing havoc for opposing teams. He's a tremendous shot blocker with great instincts overall protecting the paint, and offensively, he's scoring about 18 per game right now. The Cavs have a ton of young guard and wing talent on the roster, but they lack such with their bigs, and Okongwu could be the piece holding it together in the middle for them moving forward. With the 5th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Nico Mannion from Arizona. Mannion has been one of the most impressive players in college basketball this year, at least to me, and he's had no struggles continuing to be the electrifying playmaker that he was in high school. He has such a tight handle that he uses to run the offense and does so well getting open looks for both himself and teammates. His pull-up jumper is so smooth, and the success that he finds at that shot tells me that he'll be able to score at the NBA level as well, and his shooting percentage of 52% from the field and 43% from 3 are perhaps most impressive of all. In a similar light to the Lillard and McCollum backcourt in Portland, putting Mannion alongside Trae Young in Atlanta could make for one of the toughest shot-creating backcourts in the league down the line. With the 4th pick in the draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Cole Anthony from North Carolina. This draft class is very much point guard heavy, because it just so happens that several point guards in the class are top tier talents. Not only has Cole Anthony been averaging about 21 points per game for UNC this season, but he also seems to already have become a leader out on the floor as a freshman. He stays very positive on the court and leads both by example and by encouraging his teammates vocally, and the team looks to him to make a play when a play needs to be made. Leadership is something that can't really be taught, so along with all of his talent, that's a huge plus for Anthony, who hopes to be running the show of an NBA team in his future. Next, with the 3rd pick in the draft, the Golden State Warriors select James Wiseman from Memphis. If you somehow haven't heard by now, Wiseman has been controversially suspended for 12 games this year, so we won't be able to see him play for a while. But in the games he did play, he looked good. He's averaging about 20 points and 10 rebounds per game so far, while making a whopping 77% of his shots, which is out of this world efficiency. He's 7'1" with insane length to add to it, so in the middle, he's been blocking shots with ease. If the Warriors are able to add someone like Wiseman to a team that will be getting Klay Thompson and Steph Curry back healthy next year, they very well could be back to being legit contenders. With the second pick in the draft now, the Memphis Grizzlies select Anthony Edwards from Georgia. Edwards is the best scorer in the class so far, with little room for debate, and on his Georgia team, he's shown the ability to take over and make difficult shots when needed. He has an NBA-ready body with NBA-ready moves, and will more than likely be in the conversation for the #1 pick all year long. For a team like the Grizzlies, pairing Edwards with their electrifying young point guard in Ja Morant would definitely help speed up their rebuild. And finally, with the much anticipated #1 pick in the draft, the New York Knicks select LaMelo Ball from the NBL. Ball has been in the spotlight his entire young adult life because of all the craziness that happens with his family off the court, but he's handled this fame as well as he possibly could have and hasn't let it distract him from playing his game and impressing those that watch. He's already had 2 triple-doubles in the NBL, has playmaking instincts that you simply can't teach, and his uniquely creative handle with the ball allows him to get to his spots with ease. As controversial as his family has been over the years, he's the truth, and will be highly coveted come June. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with who you think is the best prospect right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.